what was the moment that did it for me? Where did I start my reinvention and what made me want to change? Well, let's talk about it. I'm Tony, and here on this channel, I talk about reinvention for those of us over 50, mindset shifts, small changes we can make, and navigating through the second half of our life. And I do that through sharing my own experiences about my own reinvention. So I can remember the actual moment where I decided that things had to change. You know, if you've watched a few of my other videos, you know that I was at that point in my mid-50s where things just did not feel good at all in my life. I felt trapped in my finances. I felt trapped in my mindset. I felt trapped in the way that I felt physically. And I just couldn't see a way out of it. I had grown into these feelings for so long. To me, it just seemed, okay, well, this is the way the rest of my life is going to feel. And I just was not happy with that. I was in a relationship that had run its course, as it was at that point in my life. And everything's really, it came to a head. One night, nothing spectacular happened that day. This is going back about 5 years, in 4.5 to 5 years ago. And I just remember laying there in bed at night. I was in the bottom bunk of what used to be my granddaughter's bed. And I was going through I guess what you'd call like a dark night of the soul moment. I was done. I remember sitting there thinking, as I was laying there, really literally praying to God. It's like, please, I'm done. I don't want to wake up in the morning. And it was such an intensive feeling. I just felt lost, completely broken. And really, I didn't want to wake up in the morning. I knew I would never do anything, to myself, so to speak, but I wanted to not wake up. I felt that I was of no value to anyone in my family. I couldn't provide for people the way that I had wanted to. I felt crappy mentally and physically. I had some life insurance through my employer, so I knew financially that would probably be the best way that I'd be able to leave some things behind for my kids and for my granddaughter. So it was like I had resolved myself to, okay, I'm okay with this. I'm fine if I just don't wake up in the morning. Well, long story short, as you can tell, I woke up in the morning. Somewhat disappointed, to be honest with you. And it's like, okay, well, now what do I do? Because I know I'm not going to go out and actually do anything to harm myself. I wouldn't do that. So as I've said in other videos, I had to take stock in how I was feeling. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do about this? I recognize the fact that I feel crappy in all of these areas, but what am I going to do about it? Am I just going to acknowledge that I have to feel this way for the rest of my life, and it is what it is? And not for nothing, the feeling of it is what it is, to me, is one of the most disempowering statements that we say to ourselves. It just means that there's nothing within my control that I can fix or that I can change at any given moment. And that's how I felt. I just felt, well, it is what it is. So I could continue to feel that way, or I could decide for myself in that moment, you know what? I think I want things to be different. and I want to feel different, but I knew if I wanted to feel different, I had to be different. And the only way I was going to be different was to get that vision in my head. Okay, well, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want my life to feel like? And I started to take notice of that, and I started to take hold of that and really lean into those feelings. And knowing that, okay, if I can at least just start with this, then I can start to put things into place that will lead to me feeling like this. I wasn't trying to figure out everything in one moment. I wasn't trying to figure out, well, how am I actually going to get there? I wasn't worried about any of that stuff. All I was worried about in that moment was, okay, I need to notice where I want things to be different and start to come up with a plan as to how I was going to get there. That was really the first step. And I've talked about this in a previous video about the self-awareness. And that's where it really started for me, was just becoming self-aware of how I felt. So the first place I decided to start was simply with my mindset. And I have read books on mindset over the years. I'm a big follower of, I don't know if you've read him, Joe Dispenza. You know, you can change your life by the way you change your thoughts and stuff like that. I'm a big proponent of that and big believer in that, but I wasn't putting it into practice. It applied to everybody else but me. So that's where I needed to start. And that's where I started. Just the desire and the knowledge that I wanted my life to feel different and that I wanted to be a different person and how I interacted with life was really the place that I started. Because trying to think about dismantling everything that I felt was wrong with my life it was too overwhelming. It was too much to think. It's like, there's just no way I can change all this. So I slowly started to build. I changed my mindset. It wasn't easy. You know, old thoughts, old habits, old reactions, old ways of being, they die hard. They really, really do. And it takes work. It does. You have to be committed. You have to really want to be different, to feel different, to have your life be different, to interact differently with people. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I can honestly say, and I've said this before, that from that dark night of the soul moment 5 years ago to this point, to where I am today, would never have thought it was possible, ever. I just could not see my way through it. But I'm at the point now where I'm more excited. I feel better than I ever have in my life. I'm 61. I'm happier than I ever have been. Not that I don't have issues or problems or things that go on in my life, but I handle it so much better. I have a better mindset and a better perspective just through some of the things that I've gone through. And I know you do too. We have certain experiences once we get into our 50s and 60s and 70s. It's like we've lived life, you know, we have. And it's hard sometimes to come out of that mindset that, again, it is what it is. And that's just not true. Nothing is what it is unless you want it to be, you know. And I don't mean to overstate that, you know, not taking into account situations that people have in their life. But for the most part, I think that's how it is. So if you're at that point where you are maybe going through a dark night of the soul moment, I just want to encourage you that it can be different. It can feel different. You just need to focus on one thing right now. And that's just simply recognizing and acknowledging that this is how you feel and that you want things to be different. You have to want it to be different. And that's a great place to start. You don't have to do anything else. Just acknowledge to yourself that you want to feel different, and things can start to feel different. And that's what I talk about here on the channel, is things that I've gone through, experience that hopefully can help you out. I hope you'll come back and that you find some benefit to the channel and to the videos. And I hope to see you again in another video. Thanks.